There isn't a single one of us who doesn't need continued guidance and mentorship. Many times that's just as much about as an example as it is about words. I actually believe we all have a tremendous amount to prove to ourselves and to one another. The basketball player has to prove he can actually play in the NBA, and on some level, needs to prove his commitment to winning and to his teammates. My analogy starts to fall apart, though, when we start to look at the consequences. If the NBA player can't hack it, his team continues to lose, and their fan base won't be all that happy. If our chief petty officers can't hack it, the consequences are dire. Our country has been at war in some capacity since September 11, 2001, when Master Chief up here in the front row, that's the year he made chief. Matter of fact, I found out a little while ago, he and I made chief together in 2001. Today, we're faced with a great power competition in which our way of life and our livelihood is being challenged on a number of fronts. And I don't really need to tell you because you're all in the intel community, so you know. But I'll just share for all of us. Among other things, China recently launched a long-range hypersonic missile that went around the world, dropped off a hypersonic glide vehicle, which glided all the way back to and impacted its target in China. Russian jets routinely intercept U.S. aircraft in international airspace. Iranian boats consistently harass our ships in the Straits of Hormuz. North Korea has conducted multiple missile launches. I could go on and on. The point is something you all know well. The world is a dangerous place. It's a dangerous time to be a U.S. Navy sailor, and by extension, it's a dangerous time to be a chief petty officer. I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Chiefs. It's the primary reason the nation's relying on you. It's for mission accomplishment during difficult and trying times. Navy Chief?
Navy Prime!
If things were always easy, we wouldn't need chiefs. Everyone knows the history. They know what you're capable of. The expectations are super high for technical and institutional expertise, for impact on command and in the community, and especially for just simply getting the job done. It has been your sacrifices and proven performance of those that have afforded each chief petty officer such profound reverence. You have been getting it done since 1893. Navy Chief?
Navy Prime!
On countless occasions, commanding officers such as Commander Copeland and Commander Eakins have turned to the Chief's mess, asked them to accomplish the seemingly impossible, to fix a CASRAP so the ship, aircraft, or submarine can conduct its mission, to put out a fire, to move the ship at breakneck speed across the Med and launch strikes, to assess an adversary's capabilities, to assess, even more difficultly, to assess intent, to fix a pay problem, to figure out how to get a shipmate home on emergency leave, to comfort a family in need, or maybe to save a sailor from themselves. How do chiefs collectively and you individually live up to those expectations? You must believe in yourself and serve as the professional you have proven to be. Nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said there is no passion to be found for playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you are capable of living. And I'm certain we have all been told to make sure that you have something to fall back on. Well, Chiefs, I don't want you to fall back on anything. Chiefs, you lean forward. Don't be afraid to fail, to take measured, calculated risks. And know this, sometimes you're gonna fail. A couple of interesting facts about some people that did fail. Back to our sports analogies. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career. And nobody remembers those strikeouts. Everyone remembers that he hit 563 home runs. And people don't recognize that Thomas Edison had over 1,000 failed experiments. And his 1,001st experiment was the light bulb. The point is that we will all face failure. And every failure is one step closer to success. Every chief here has the training and the talent to succeed. But you must have the courage to speak up in the chief's mess. to advocate for your sailors, to go to the senior enlisted leader, to the commanding officer, to the admiral, or to inform Congress. In your future as a Chief Petty Officer, you will be forced to endure adversity far beyond what has thus far been imposed upon you. And you must face each challenge and adversity with the same dignity and good grace you have already demonstrated. Navy Chief.
Navy pride.
And this last piece is for each of you and your family. So I'm looking at our newest chiefs when I say this, but honestly, it's for all of us. Chiefs have a tendency, especially our newest Chief Petty Officers, to put your foot on the gas and go as fast as you can and as hard as you can. And that's not necessarily the best approach. Strive for and strike a work-life balance and take care of yourselves, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Take care of and love your family and those that are nearest and dearest to you. Believe this old retiree when I say there will come a time when the Navy is going to thank you for your service and then send you home. And I want your family to still be there supporting you when that happens. In closing, as I have traveled across the great Navy and engaged with our newest Chief Petty Officers, I am encouraged by what I see. I am strengthened by what I see. Because being accepted as the Chief is not about arriving in the mess. It's about knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know. It's about being open to people and to ideas. It's the chances that you take. It's the people that you meet. It's the people that you love. It's the faith that you have. That is what is going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. And give everything you got. Navy Chief.
Navy pride.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. All chiefs, past and present, please stand at attention. Chief selectees, attention. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Buzard will now read the presentation of the anchors.
Chief Petty Officers, cover. Two. The fouled anchor is the emblem of the rank of a Chief Petty Officer of the United States Navy. Attached to the anchor is a length of chain and the letters USN. To the novice, the anchor chain and letters only identify a Chief Petty Officer of the United States Navy. But to a chief, these have a more noble and glorious meaning. The U stands for unity, which reminds us of cooperation, maintaining harmony, and continuity of purpose and action. The S stands for service, which reminds us of service to our God, our fellow man, and our Navy. The N stands for navigation, which reminds us to keep ourselves on a true course so that we may walk upright before God and man in our transactions with all mankind, but especially with our fellow chiefs. The chain is symbolic of flexibility and reminds us of the chain of life that we forge day by day, link by link, and may be forged with honor, morality, and virtue. The anchor is emblematic of the hope and glory of the fulfillment of all God's promises to our souls. The golden or precious anchor by which we must be kept steadfast in faith and encouraged to abide in our proper station amidst the storm of temptation, affliction, and persecution. Chief Petty Officers, uncover. 2.
Thank you, Jen. Chiefs, past and present, please be seated. Chief selects, parade, rest. Boatswain, post aside, boys. One of the distinctive trademarks of American Blue Jacket sailors is the white hat, which symbolizes a long and proud tradition of the Navy's core values of honor, courage, and commitment. However, These sailors assembled here today will no longer wear that hat. Instead, as the sailors join the ranks of Chief Petty Officers, they will don a new hat, a symbol of their new position and responsibility, representing an equally long and proud tradition of service. It is tradition that the sponsor of the new Chief Petty Officer presents this new hat to the new chief. Ladies and gentlemen, the selectees will now be pinned. Once the selectee makes their way to the front of the stage, pinners are welcome to come up and pin their chief. The primary sponsor will hat the new chief, and the secondary sponsor will present the new chief with a gift from the mess. This is a momentous occasion which only happens once in a sailor's career. Therefore, a photographer is on hand to capture this moment. There will be additional opportunities for photos after the ceremony. Thank you. Chief selects, attention. Chief select the Kunto. Chief select the Yala, front and center. Chief select the Kunto will be pinned by Matthew, Stephen, Justin, and Grace, and her cover will be placed by Chief Amy Greener. Chief select the Yala will be pinned by Hannah, Isabella, Melody Ayala, and his cover will be placed by Chief Jen Bazar. Chief Petty Officer Kunto arriving. Chief Petty Officer Ayala arriving. Chief select the Splinter. Chief select Evans, front and center. Chief select the Splinter will be pinned by John Mickler, Amelia the Splinter, and Mariah Kelly, and her cover will be placed by Senior Chief Lori Bowles. Chief select Evans will be pinned by Lieutenant Tim Gregory, Heidi Smith, and Brenly Smith, and his cover will be placed by Chief DJ